Hi guys, welcome to Covenant Union with Ray.
And Ali.
Here, a podcast about family, about Christian living and parenting. Today, we just wanted to share with you the story of how this podcast was born, how we got into this ministry.
Yep.
And it's been quite a while. It's been some good years of back and forth, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. And it started, I think, on an individual basis. I think we could start from there. As Raymond, had you always known that you had a calling on your life to go into ministry?
Oh yeah. A ministry had always been, I'm going to sing. Yeah, it has been worship. And I fought it quite a bit because that's not where I saw myself in ministry. And then I went astray and all that. The first time we talked about podcasting was about 3 years ago. We were actually talking about marriage, and it was a hint. It would be nice for us to actually talk to people about maybe
relationships in general. And I remember it because we're talking and then we realized, why do people say relationships are hard? Not to say that we don't have our ups and downs, but we find that they are very navigatable, especially when you involve God. And we've had some really rough seasons, but we find that there's nothing you can't navigate.
That's true.
Yeah, so we're talking about why don't we just talk about relationships? Perhaps then it's always nice for people to see that there isn't anything you can't get over if you put in the work and if you're intentional about actually getting over it.
Yes, that's true. And it didn't come in as ministry at first. It came in as sharing our lives and sharing marriage. And then, it disappeared.
Well, life happened. Life took over.
Yeah. 2022, 2023, life had taken a turn for the worse.
The last 2 years were rough. Very rough.
And then we joined a community of believers. I was approached and asked to be an assistant pastor, and I was like, oh no. I can sit at the back and maybe help here and there, but no. And that was on a Thursday, and then the next Tuesday, boom, I'm sick in bed, 4 days bedridden. Yeah, it's another story. And in that time is when I went like, now I know. If I was doubting anything, I knew right then. And I lost my voice.
Yeah.
I couldn't talk, couldn't sing, couldn't do anything.
Such a curveball, yeah? Like you grow up knowing, most of your life knowing, this is what I'm called to do. And then God shifts you completely.
Yeah. My wife was right there next to me. It was a beautiful bonding. When I look back, I don't see the pain. I miss my voice. I miss the things I could do. But I don't see the pain. I see the bonding and the direction that happened when we were in that room, and the direction after when I was at home. And she was taking care of me literally like a baby. I saw the ministry between us start to unfold. Yeah, one story after another, and boom, we're here. Yeah.
Personally, did I ever think I would ever be into ministry? Not in this lifetime, at least. It's not a thought I'd ever had. It's not. So I got, the very first time I got born again, of course, I'm not going to talk about, the primary, you don't even quite understand what you're doing. But I think for me it was S1. So I went to Weranyanji Girls, and it was a very spiritually nurturing school. And it's the first time I experienced God for myself. I'd been raised by Christian parents, and my aunties don't play about God. So I knew God, but not intimately. It was the first time I was experiencing God intimately. And I remember joining the intercessors, even when I didn't quite understand what that was about. But now I look back and I realize everything I know about prayer, at least most of it, was ingrained in me then. So it was quite the experience. And then by Form 3, I think, well, God wasn't that big a part of my life on an individual level. And then I moved schools in A level, and oh dear Lord, whatever little was left was also gone and erased completely. Campus, I don't remember. I think I went to church here and there, but I didn't really key into God like I should have. And then much, I think, meeting you and then really getting grounded in God again. But even then, and as aware that you had a call on your life, but as a worship leader, as a worshiper, and it's the one thing that you've always loved to do. So I just figured I'll support you back here. I'll be your backbone. I'll push you when you need to be pushed. It had nothing to do with me. And then God sucked me in real good. Yeah. And yeah, here we are, I guess. I feel like I'm navigating a whole new season. Like, what is this? What are we doing? What am I doing? God. Yeah.
It's confusing. It does get confusing. And because life continues happening. You have so many things going on, and you're wondering, how do I carve time to share something that God has done in our lives?
Anything that God has called you to do, you must carve that time for it. You must make the time.
Getting it started was the hard part.
We've procrastinated on so many things, but this one was a bit much.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It was.
We kept putting it off. But for me, I think it was more of, God, I am not worthy. I am not qualified in any way. I am not anyone that knew me then. This is like a contradiction. It is like they can't quite reconcile the person they knew and the person I am saying I am. Like the two just, and I totally understand that. But for me, again, I feel like that is what grace is about. That is what God can do when you allow Him to do it. I've not murdered anybody, but I've also not I've had a turbulent teen and young adulthood stage. But the constant reminder from the Holy Spirit that is what it's about. That is what it is about. To see what God can do, what grace can do, what change can happen when you allow the Holy Spirit to take over. Yeah.
And when He calls,
you answer. You said that, and I remember so well. I think at the end of last year, the thing that kept coming back to me was, where you send me, I will go. In that moment, it didn't matter if He had said jump off a cliff. It was being so sold out to wherever it is God wanted to take me that I didn't care where it took me or how it got me there. I was willing to go.
Yeah. And off the cliff you jumped.
And off the cliff I went.
You look at actually two people who had different paths.
Completely
different plans. Even ministry had different plans. I did deliver a sermon, my first sermon, and I was some time back, and that first one I was like, what am I doing in front of a pulpit? And the truth is, I could talk, I couldn't sing. And a podcast, I can talk, so I can still get the message out there. And if God wills for me to hold a guitar and sing again, He will show the path.
And I think there's a lesson in this journey that you're taking.
Yeah.
And we say we support our spouses in everything. I understand that while I'll support him 110%, that is a part of the journey that he must take on his own. But no matter how by his side I am, I cannot experience it for you.
Yeah.
So just understanding that God is using this journey for whatever reason. One, we should make sure do not miss the reason.
Oh yeah.
yeah. But also allowing him to work in you to wherever this place takes us. If he works on your voice and it comes back. If it doesn't, what would that look like for you? So I understand that you're navigating a season of so how else can I serve beyond? And that is within church.
Yeah.
How else can I serve beyond singing, beyond strumming the guitar, beyond worship?
It's that point where you need to surrender. And when you have a partner who understands that, you start to notice how God uses your partner to teach you things that you would never have learned. And in the silence, sometimes I feel like he's telling me, but I gave you a helper. I'm not silent, you're just not listening. I think as ministers, sometimes, especially the guys, when we say, oh, we're into ministry, we tend to drag our family with us and drag your spouse into saying, follow me. And forgetting that she's your helpmate, even in the midst of ministry. Yeah.
And when you say that, I've never actually told you this, but one of the things you've done and I've respected you so much for, I remember you serving at some point on the worship team, and well, things at home were a bit rocky.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying, I'm stepping away from ministry until we fix what is within.
Yeah.
Then I can go outside and minister to the world.
Yeah.
And the respect, I don't even have the right words to express how I felt in that moment, but for me it was, your heart is in the right place. Because ministry out there will happen with or without you. It's always an honor when it's with us, but it will happen. But what are we telling the world? I feel like we have no authority to go out there and minister to the world when we can't minister in our own homes.
You end up leading a whole congregation to God, and your family is so stressed out because you're not available. I think that is wrong. It's just wrong.
I'd think so too. Just to summarize this and really talk about how covenant union in itself came to be. Last year we went through a series of events that led us to this place. One, Raymond really had bad, I don't quite know how to describe it, but he fell sick and really bad, like really, really sick. It's the first moment I thought about the vows in sickness and in health. But that will be a whole episode on its own. And when we came out of that, he was home for about, roughly 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
And then immediately after that, our business took a really bad hit and literally almost went to zero. First of all, when we say sick, we mean loss of speech, loss of movement, loss. So we're rebuilding everything all at once.
Yeah.
And for me, when we came out on the other side, there was no two ways about it. Because, first of all, I keyed so much into God in that season. I feel like He carried me through. I would have crumbled.
Yeah.
He held our family. He held us together. He held me. And in that season, I found that the Holy Spirit kept telling me, your life needs to reflect this thing that you've tapped into. And because I was very clear on what my ministry as an individual was, I knew it was beyond just me. Because this miracle that we experienced it wasn't even about me. It was more about my husband. And that's when the whole questioning about what is it that we've been called to do together.
Yeah.
And I remember Raymond didn't even think about it. He just told me, counseling. And I'm like, you guy, first wait. Who is going to cancel who? Me canceling who? Who is going to listen to me? It made no sense. It made no sense whatsoever.
The day she came to me, I think I had gotten a direction for our marriage. And so when she came to me and asked, so what are you going to do? It's like the Holy Spirit just opened my mouth. Said, like, actually the question was, do you know what ministry we are in as a couple? I know individually what we want to do as a couple. What are we supposed to do? I just said counseling. Yeah, and from there I think we didn't look back. We didn't look back, but we procrastinated on the start. Yeah. For the podcast. When we started, I remember after the first one, we were like, it has started.
There's no going back.
There's no going back. Yeah, like you've just forced yourself to go ahead. So in the midst of all the troubles and all the busy schedules, said no.
We'll take out 30 minutes once a week and make this happen.
Yeah.
Before we finish, I just wanted us to talk about how the name happened. Because we went back and forth a number of names. First of all, we listed so many things.
Yeah, there were about 10 different names.
I would look and like, no, this is not it. And for me, Covenant Union made so much sense because the one thing we've always said was that it's a covenant between us and God. Our marriage is not a contract. It's a covenant we made between the two of us and God.
Yeah.
It's a what does the Bible say about the three strand?
It can't be broken.
Yes, it cannot be broken. So it goes beyond just a bond. It goes beyond just the emotions and the feelings of the moment. It's waking up daily and recommitting to serving my husband and serving God together.
Yeah.
And I think for us it just made perfect sense.
Yeah, covenant and the covenant. We were looking for catchy names but
something fancy and something.
Yeah. But this is it's grounded in the fact that we chose each other.
Yeah.
We chose God. And we asked Him to seal it. I just have to add this. I feel so connected with my wife as we have this podcast. I feel so connected with God. So it's like the trio all in one at the same time.
I also feel like it's shown us parts of us we didn't even know what they are.
Yeah. I think
that pretty much
summarizes Covenant Union.
Yeah, this was just a little story time. And I hope you've enjoyed the episode as much as we've enjoyed sharing it with you.